Hola, ¿me pueden oír? Siento mucho no haber podido, al final me mandaron a Nueva York para apoyar el grupo de pequeñas empresas, como dijo antes, y estoy aquí todavía. Bueno, no pude traducir el speech, así que tengo que present it in English, and I will read a little slowly, assuming that there's some people in the room who are not fully bilingual. Thank you. So, since its inception in 1966, the UNCITRAL has prepared various instruments to foster the progressive harmonization and unification of international trade law. UNCITRAL texts provide a modern framework for international trade and complement and support existing trends in global economic integration. The mandate of UNCITRAL includes the promotion of the adoption and uniform interpretation of the United Nations Convention on Contracts for the International Sale of Goods. In the past few years, accessions by Japan and Turkey have brought significant global players into the CISG family. Similarly, the accession of Brazil 3 years ago provides a prominent hold in South America. Other accessions, such as that of Bahrain and Vietnam, open new perspectives in regions where the CISG has not yet set a firm foot. We are hopeful that these accessions in these regions spur interest in neighboring countries, which often account for a significant portion of a state's trade. States such as Rwanda are expressing interest, possibly as a result of being sandwiched between two states, Uganda and Burundi, who are members. Similarly, we are delighted to see growth and acceptance in Central America, with Costa Rica due to become the 86th state in 2017. Tomorrow, my colleague Luca Castellani will be discussing the interaction between the CISG and the Electronic Communications Convention. And I know that you have a rich program before you filled with content on the CISG. So today I am going to do something differently with my time. I'm going to talk instead about recent initiatives within UNCITRAL toward unification. You see, as I mentioned earlier, the promotion of the text is one part of our role. The second is the uniform interpretation of that text. Accession of new states, therefore, is not the only way at UNCITRAL we promote the unification of international trade law. We sponsor CLOUT, which is our case law on UNCITRAL texts, and welcome submissions from countries that have interpreted or applied our texts. Due to its success and the large number of CISG cases published there, we publish as well a digest to support uniform interpretation of the CISG. The digest was last updated in 2016 and will be translated this year into each of the official languages, including Spanish. I encourage practitioners and judges in Costa Rica to familiarize yourself with these platforms and consult them upon consideration of the next, or possibly first, CISG issue that comes before them. It is important to analyze the text, avoiding the homeward trend. I'm hopeful that this subject will be addressed more thoroughly in the coming days. Now, the third step is for the UNCITRAL Secretariat to submit to the attention of states the possibility of reviewing the declarations they had lodged to the CISG upon accession. In light of subsequent economic and legal changes, a number of states to the CISG have completed or are in the process of withdrawing such declarations. You see, at the time of drafting, reservations were necessary to accommodate different legal cultures. as well as economic and political realities. Therefore, Articles 92 to 96 of the Convention authorize 5 different types of reservations. Naturally, these reservations have produced substantial non-uniformity in the text of the Convention in force in the various countries that have ratified the CISG. Article 92 permits a contracting state to declare that it is not bound by Part 2 of the Convention, contract formation, or Part 3 of the Convention, rights and obligations. 4 Northern European countries, Denmark, Finland, Norway, and Sweden, had made declarations under Article 92 reserving out of the contract formation provisions. The text of the Convention in force in these countries, therefore, omitted 11 provisions found in the version of the CISG in force in other states. When the parties located in Denmark, Finland, Norway, or Sweden were involved in a sale within the scope of the Convention, the contract formation rules depended on the law applicable under the rules of private international law. After coordinated events at UNCITRAL over the last few years, including a very recent withdrawal from Norway, all states have withdrawn their reservation, resulting in a progressive trend toward unification. The most popular type of reservation was authorized by Article 96. 8 countries today, Argentina, Armenia, Belarus, Chile, Paraguay, the Russian Federation, the Ukraine, and Vietnam all have it on their books. To understand the consequence of an Article 96 reservation, one must be aware that Articles 11 and 29 of the Convention eliminate any requirement that sales contracts governed by the CISG be in writing in order to be enforceable. The written form declaration was particularly important to former socialist economies, as concerns were raised that an economic entity could find itself bound by an international contract for sale of goods concluded orally, in spite of the fact that the contract had not been foreseen in a central plan. In recent times, however, several states have reacted quickly and positively to the debate on the withdrawal of this reservation. Estonia had withdrawn its written form declaration in connection with work on a new civil code. Hungary, Latvia, and Lithuania followed suit. Outside of Europe, the People's Republic of China has withdrawn its written form declaration, due also to the fact that domestic Chinese sales law does not contain such a requirement. It's with great pleasure for me to announce movement starting with the Czech Republic on Article 95 reservations. They've been made by the Czech Republic, Slovakia, China, Singapore, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, and the United States. By their reservations, these countries have declared they are not bound by subparagraph 1b of Article 1. Article 1(1)b provides that the CISG applies to international sales transactions when the rules of private international law lead to the application of the law of a contracting state. In other words, the CISG applies only when the requirements of 1(1)a are met, when both parties to a sales transaction are located in contracting states. Again, the possibility of making a declaration under Article 95 on Article 1(1)b was initially included in 1980 in the CISG at the Diplomatic Conference upon the behest of the former Czechoslovakia, as necessary to preserve the special effect that legislation had on international trade law that existed at the time, as part of a planned economic system of Czechoslovakia and other members of the Council for Mutual Economic Assistance. When the former Czechoslovakia lodged its declaration, this special legislation was in place, but it was later repealed and does not exist today in the Czech Republic. Unfortunately, however, the effect of this reservation turned out to be problematic. Not only has the reservation impeded the development of the CISG, but it has raised controversies among both national and foreign courts and tribunals about its enforcement. Withdrawal of the 11B declaration is a straightforward measure that will increase the harmonizing impact of the CISG, reduce forum shopping, increase parties' contractual freedom, and increase legal certainty, thus maximizing the treaty's potential economic benefits. Just as I am here today to celebrate the adoption of our text by Costa Rica, I want to celebrate the advancements in the Czech Republic too, not just for clarity in the meaning of the text, but symbolically for leading the way towards a positive and hopeful trend. As with accession, we are hopeful that other states might be spurred by these developments. China has already declared its intention to review the declaration, with a view towards possibly withdrawing it. Considering that China has already withdrawn its Article 95 reservation, we are hopeful that this movement in the Czech government will generate interest within and outside of Europe. As I indicated earlier, while flexibility and compatibility with all legal traditions were and remain critical to the creation of UNCITRAL texts, a pillar of our work towards harmony is to request states to periodically review these reservations and declarations in order to remain relevant and desirable. Today, however, I encourage everyone, in the next 2 days, I encourage everyone to spend time learning about the text as it's applied. There are a number of free, publicly available resources on the CISG in a number of languages. As I was introduced, I also serve as the UNCITRAL librarian, so I'm happy to assist or answer questions in that capacity as well. Today, I'm going to return to the first working group and support it as part of the Secretariat. I'm very thankful for the introduction, for the work of Mrs. Vilma Sanchez, and for being able to participate remotely in this conference. I thank you very much.